funny. Lazard's Twitter game it's absolutely flawless, dude. His Twitter game is untouchable. The not two top two, bro, legendary.
Yeah,
stuff.
that's good stuff. Let's say we might as well just start the show off with Jake revealing what we're laughing at right now.
Okay, so
Isaac's gonna appreciate it because he called us out while we were wearing our fan locks at the live show. But welcome to another Wisco Fanatic Wednesday. We are back. Lots to talk about today. Lots of football, lots of basketball. But Jake and I are talking about the Packers, and Jake's gonna share a little something about the Packers real quick.
all right, let me pull it up on my phone here. Okay, here we go. So I'm looking on Instagram. I see Jair Alexander activated. And I'm looking at the comments, and the first one I see in all capital letters is Alan Lazard. He says, "That's an island boy," and you can't help but say that in their stupid voice. And I'm like, oh, that's so annoying because they're everywhere, but it makes so much sense, dude. Oh man, God damn it, Alan! You're catching record-breaking touchdowns. You're making great comments. You have a good life, Alan. Alan has a good life.
He gets to be the, the number one, number two, number three receiver on the Packers too. I mean, play with Aaron Rodgers.
He's just likable. He's like, Donald Driver in a way where he's never going to be considered great, but he's just likable, man. He's just one of those guys.
All right.
Look at Tim right now, man. Island boy. Yeah, God, I don't want to sound like that. Stop saying that, okay? God. I don't want to sound like that.
David, let's not talk about the defense. Let's talk about the refs because that's the only way the Packers win if you go on Twitter after the game.
Hey. I'm not going to get into that conversation.
Nobody complains about the officiating when the Packers lose. Then it's always like, oh, it's the Packers suck. But when the Packers win, it's like, oh, they needed all the ref help. It can never be credit given or, whatever. But
when we lose in the NFC Championship game because of the refs, it's like, oh, the Packers blew another NFC Championship game.
No, Aaron Rodgers choked is what it is. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers choked in the NFC Championship game. But then when you bring up, the fact that the officiating was poor, which I will still say the same thing of if you take the pass interference that wasn't called in the first half on Lazard, the Packers were driving, likely to get either 3 or 7. And then the Buccaneers got the ball and got 7. So not only did the Buccaneers get 7, but you're basically taking points away from the Packers. So that's a potential 10 to 14 point swing in a game the Packers lost by 5 points.
And say the second half goes the same exact way. We're getting interceptions and Rodgers gets those couple, offense. Not just Rodgers, but he runs a lot of the offense. But they go down, they get some points. I mean, we could we should have still won the game. I still to this day think we should have gone for a touchdown. I'd rather go out swinging for the fences than play this field goal defense type shit. No, this is not the time to do that. We're in the NFC Championship game. You're freaking Rodgers.
I would rather. So this is the way to look at it. I would rather try to score a touchdown from the 5-yard line and a field goal from 50 yards than to kick a 25-yard field goal and try to score a touchdown from the 35-yard line.
I agree with that 100%. You got Aaron Rodgers. Devontae Adams was legendary all year.
And Mason Crosby was money last year. I'd rather take a shot on a long field goal than trying to complete a long touchdown pass.
I agree with that. I mean, go for it, man. That's what I would have done. But hindsight's 20/20, right?
Always. And 2020 sucked, so there's that. Yeah. But now we're wrapping up 2021, and we're going to start talking about the Packers. Before we get into 3 stars, actually, we wanted to discuss Aaron Rodgers' quote today. Rodgers is on the Pat McAfee show all the time. We talk about it on the show once in a while. We can either post the quote or the interview after the show, and you guys can let us know what you think about it. But Jake and I are just going to kind of sum up our thoughts on it. So, Jake, what are you thinking after hearing what Rodgers said? I don't know if you want to kind of sum it up, or I can bring up the quote and kind of give the bullet points.
So, everybody has a different understanding of things, and there's going to be Packers fans that are really thinking like, "Oh man, he's going to retire. He's on his way out." This was kind of his parting letter. I guess to me, what I'm taking it as is Rodgers is really just living in the moment, and we can all probably learn something from this, really. I mean, me especially. I never live in the moment. I'm always planning ahead, always planning this, always trying to see what my family wants to do next, And Rodgers is really just taking everything in as it happens, And he's talking about how much he appreciates people in the organization and, talking about how much he appreciates his time with the organization. So, in a way, if he retires, I'm just going to thank him. He's been one of my favorite players for a number of years. I'll never forget, the championship belt, all the touchdowns, all the celebrations, all the great times. I mean, I'll always appreciate Aaron Rodgers. But I think he's coming back. That's really what I think. I'll be completely honest. I think he's coming back. Him and Devontae, they're going to go get this ring, and they're going to be like, listen, you better watch out because we're here now. And Devontae just got his first ring, and Rodgers got his second ring. And I think Gutekunst has grown a lot this year as a GM.
And Rodgers did mention that in his interview.
And he said how much he appreciated him. And I think that we're about to put the world on notice. That's really what I think. And everybody's talking about how we're going to suck when Rodgers leaves after this year. Well, you better not let us win because then it's really about to go down, I think. That's really personally how I feel.
So what I think now this is purely hypothetical and there's a lot that would have to go into this, but if the Packers win a championship, say this year, and then next year he starts getting into, like breaking all the records that Brady has broken, he's obviously going to be chasing Brady. He's 7 years behind in age, so he's chasing Brady strictly in terms of experience. But once Rodgers starts breaking those Breeze, Peyton Manning records, he's already starting to break some of Favre's records. And once he starts getting into, he's the second best quarterback ever as an active player, I can't see him not seeing some of Brady's records and thinking, hey, I can break that if Brady retires after this year. Or, if Brady decides to play next year, who knows what effect that could have on Rodgers. What I took away from this is that Rodgers, he's going to be back next year. I'd say probably about 95% sure of what I'm thinking that he's going to be back next year. The only way I could see him deciding to retire or leave is if like the Packers somehow ended up in a first round game against Washington or something and lost like 42-7 or something. It was like really, something really, really bad like that. But I don't know. I don't see any scenarios where Rodgers just straight up leaves and goes to another team.
Here's the one thing that I really took away when I was reading that quote. I didn't get to listen to the whole thing yet, but the thing that I really took away is that he said that he wanted to prove that he could still play, and he said that he really felt that he could still play. So he still wants to be on a contender. So where else is he really going to go? And I know that he controls a lot of it, so don't kill me. But where else is he going to go where they're going to bow down to his every move? He's a god here. Let's be honest. Aaron Rodgers is basically a god in this state, with that G on the side of his head. And he's going to be on a contender that consistently, look at LaFleur. I'm just going to say one of my stats right now. LaFleur became the first coach to post 12-plus wins in each of his first 3 seasons. He has a great coach, so he's built that relationship with him. He got McCarthy out. They brought LaFleur in. He's built with Gutekunst. He's not going to go to a lot of teams and be in a situation where he is now, where he's as comfortable. He's the head dog. When you're 38 years old, you don't want to be starting new. It's just not really where you want to be at that point. I know Brady did it, but he also went to a team that was ready to win.
That team was a quarterback shy of being a contender.
There's not a lot of quarterback. Are the Broncos really that close? They don't have.
I don't think so.
I don't.
Their offensive line is not.
Yeah,
not ready.
The Buccaneers were literally like, okay, we're going to place a quarterback in here and everything's just going to happen. There's not a lot of those teams that ever happen. Brady fell into the perfect situation. Look at it.
And not to mention the 2 guys that he brought with him that are also focal points of that offense.
And now one of them is the best wide receiver, and Gronkowski is still one of the best third down targets, red zone targets in the league. Let's be honest. Yeah. So Rodgers is staying. That's just how I feel. That's how it's going to be. And, like David said, Bears and Vikings fans are sour, and that's how it's going to remain. So it is what it is, man.
So, yeah, I don't know if you guys want to let us know in the comments if you guys would rather see the quote or see the actual video. I can post either one. Just let me know if you'd rather see the quote or the video. And see the Steelers too is the same thing. Not only do the Steelers not have as good of an offensive line because their offensive line is horrible, like probably bottom 5 in the league. Their defense is also really nothing special. It really isn't. I mean, they have a couple solid defensive players in T.J. Watt, Xavier Howard, Minkah Fitzpatrick, but I mean, their pass rush, their front seven outside of T.J. Watt isn't really that exciting. Like, there's nothing exciting about Pittsburgh's defense overall. David, I appreciate the feedback there. So I will find the video and I'll be able to post that, so everybody can watch it and kind of get their own feelings of how Rodgers is feeling towards this year and moving forward. So speaking of moving forward, let's jump into some recap and let's start with 3 stars. So Jake, let me know your 3 stars of the game.
I'm going to start this out by saying, man, what a Christmas day, dude. Bucks coming back, the Packers holding on late. Like, that was a great Christmas day. Got some presents, family happy, teams are winning, so Jake is happy. Man, it was awesome. My first one, I had to do a combo because I feel like they're always going to go together. They're thunder and lightning. It's Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. I mean, Aaron Jones is just looking more and more healthy. He's getting his legs back. You could tell he's got that spring. He's got that acceleration. He's got that electricity.
Those jump cuts.
Yeah, man.
He looks so much better.
Dude, Aaron Jones, oh my God, easily one of my favorite players to watch. I mean, when he gets in the open field, it's kind of like, oh. I'm that guy, right? When I'm watching the game, and he gets to the outside, he gets 8 yards. I'm like, he could just break one.
He gets like he does this a lot where he gets either like a defensive end or an outside linebacker,
right,
like with a hand on his shoulder, and then all of a sudden he's just like running around them. It's like I keep thinking like, oh shoot, this is gonna be the time where he gets tackled in the backfield, and then he just runs around him, even though the guy's got a hand on his shoulder. Like, he just runs right around him.
But still, even for every one time that he gets tackled in the backfield, he gives you 5-6 exceptional runs where he should get tackled for a loss, and he ends up getting 5-6 yards. And I love Aaron Jones. I'm glad that he's getting healthier. A.J. Dillon, also great. He had 9 carries for 41 yards. Aaron Jones had 12 carries for 66 yards. I mean, together they had 21 for 107. My personal opinion, I think we should have ran the ball more. I think we were being more successful with that. I think integrate that more into the game plan. Maybe this week, with all the players on the COVID list, that might be something that they look into. But that's really what I think. My second star was also a combo. I cheated this week. I couldn't leave people off. I can put him on here every week. Devondre Campbell, guy's just a stud. He's a monster. He had 13 tackles. I couldn't keep him off the list with 13 tackles. He was the guy that I added on here because my original second star was Rashaan Gary. Rashaan Gary,
okay.
2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. He leads the Packers with 8.5 sacks this year. So he's been great. Absolutely.
He's breaking out finally.
I mean,
he's not that far removed from being a fresh draft pick, but
right.
He's really having a breakout season.
Yeah, he's getting all the reps, and he's really producing with his time on the field. And then my number 1 star, Davante Adams, bro. I mean, I love this guy. He had 10 catches, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns, right? That's nasty. That feels like a Davante game, doesn't it? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. But I'm going to say a stat, then I'm going to tell you his stats in the year because everybody was like, oh, Davante's having a down year. I remember that. Like week 7, people were like, oh, Davante's having a down year, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, he's Davante Adams, dude. So the stat I got on Davante is a list, right? There's a list of players on this list. List of players with 8 games of 10 catches, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 8 games. Davante Adams. That's the entire list. That is ridiculous. So when I say that feels like a Davante Adams game, that's what I mean. 10 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. That is a fat-ass stat line. But that's Davante Adams, dude. That's Davante.
That's the stat line that I had in my mind in the beginning of the year when we made bold predictions, and I'm like, Davante's going to break Randy Moss's touchdown record this year.
He's insane, dude.
He's nuts. He's like next level nuts.
He is, man. Yeah, dude, that 36-yard catch. Isaac said Lazard one-hand catch. That was nasty. That was a great throw, better catch. And I rarely say that about a Rodgers throw. Now, one last thing before I let Tyler do his stars here. I'm going to go through, Davante's receptions, 106. That's second in the NFL.
Yep. 1,362
yards, third in the NFL. And 10 touchdowns, also third in the NFL. He's tied for third. But this guy's having a down year, and he's top 3 in everything. Bro, he's
and he
the
missed
best.
a game.
He was getting triple teamed against the Baltimore Ravens because he's that damn good.
Yeah.
This guy's a monster.
Yeah, he was.
Top 2, not 2, baby. That's all I got to say.
All right. So my number 1 star is also Devontae Adams, so I'll just leave that at that. But for my second and third stars, I had 2 different guys. So David talking about Mitch. I wonder who that guy is. My second star, I put in Aaron Rodgers, just for his efficiency. Like, he's next level efficient. Made some really great throws. He missed a couple in the Baltimore game that he knew he wished he had back. And, this game he just didn't miss. His efficiency is seriously just off the charts. And he's gotten himself back into number 1 in the MVP race. So, I mean, not only that, but Matt LaFleur is now also leading in Coach of the Year.
Let's go, baby.
So I'm hoping the Packers can complete like a triple crown and win the Super Bowl. That would be insane if the Packers could pull that off, to win MVP, Coach of the Year, GM of the Year, and then win the Super Bowl. I would be willing to bet that's the first time that's ever happened. Actually, I'm already pretty sure it is, because I don't think anybody's ever won. I don't think MVP and Super Bowl have ever even happened.
When was even the last time that an MVP won the Super Bowl? That was like Kurt Warner.
That's what I'm wondering. I don't even remember.
It was like Kurt Warner, I think, dude. Seriously. I want to look that up so bad.
All right. See what you can find. I'll be here. But then my third star I had was the secondary. 4 interceptions. I mean, the one that Darnell Savage had to snag the ball while Peoples-Jones is pushing him down and to hold on to that ball. And then Rasul Douglas with his 2 interceptions. I mean, you really can't say enough good things about the Packers defensively. And then Shannon Sullivan also adding another interception. So, I mean, what else can you say about the Packers defense? I mean, even Dean Lowry's getting involved. He had a sack this week. It's going to be a lot of all hands on deck. 96. I mean, 96 might be the last time that happened.
No, I was right.
No?
It was Kurt Warner. It was
Kurt
2001? Warner, 99.
99.
I knew it.
Oh,
hey, look at my dad said.
The Buccaneers.
He said Super Bowl alone to shut everyone up, baby. Let's go.
Oh, look at David. David over here being useful. MVP and Super Bowl, it's happened 10 times. So let's make it 11.
Hell yeah.
All right. So those are my 3 stars. So let's move into the offense versus the Browns defense. What did you see from the offense? I know there's a lot of concerns about the second half. Rodgers and LaFleur both had comments about it. So let's talk about the Packers offense versus the Browns defense.
I mean, everybody is talking about the defense. And I mean, the defense, they deserve some discredit. They got ran over. Nick Chubb, he was a train this week, man. He was breaking tackles. People were not wrapping up as well.
What did we say in the preview?
I know. And what's the thing that you've been, the most accurate with, or the most, on board with, is tackling for the defense is really something that they needed to work on. You went back to that last year. That's your one thing that you harped on with the defense, and they really were not good at tackling on this day. Let's be honest. But Nick Chubb is a monster. He does that to a lot of people.
We said he's top 5.
He's
a
beast, dude. He's a big, fast dude. I mean, he's hard to bring down. What's kind of
Anthony, what's up?
Is last year this time we played Derrick Henry, who's easily the best running back in the NFL right now. When you break everything down, and they kind of shut him down. And then you go into this game against Nick Chubb, and he just kind of runs all over us. Yes, we are going to talk about that. I'm going to bring up Cook when I, talk about that. But the thing that really, really concerns me is that nobody's really talking about this offense, man. And that to open the second half, they had a good drive. 11 plays, 76 yards. They ended up getting a field goal out of that.
They were working with the playmakers on that drive, too. That drive was almost all Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. You have your best players in the field. You get the ball in their hands. And then after that, we had 2 3-and-outs. We started one drive. It was a run to EQ, -10 yards. What were we going to say?
That first drive, too, Rodgers was getting pushed out of the pocket. He almost had a really nice touchdown pass to Josiah DeGuara. I mean, he didn't hold on to it, but I mean, it would have been really close to see if DeGuara would have gotten a touchdown or not. Obviously, would have gone to review, but it would have been interesting to see if he would have gotten the touchdown or it would have been overturned. But I'll let you continue.
Right. You can't go 3-and-out back-to-back drives when the team's running the ball like they are. And, my point, I guess, is everybody's pointing at the defense when the offense is going 3-and-out and the defense is getting gutted up the middle. I mean, the defense is going to get tired. They're getting punched in the mouth repeatedly. They're getting tired. They're getting gassed. We got all these players that are injured. We got players on the COVID list now. I think the total's up to 13, 14, something like that.
I have 8 that are noteworthy.
Well, I mean, there's
more, but
it's at least 10. I know. So when you consider everything, all the players on IR, all the players on the COVID list, I know they're not all defense, but you don't really have all your depth that you usually have. So when teams are just running the ball down your throat, and that might go to Isaac's comment where he said the soft zone was killing me. You might do that a little bit because you can't just run press because you can't just take a guy out. You're not going to have a guy press for 50 yards, man coverage for 50 yards. Let him start a couple yards off, get a little breather. He can read and react kind of to the route. And then the offense is going 3-and-out. And then after that, they had a 5-play drive. They actually got a first down, and then they got 17 yards in that drive, and they still had to end up punting. A couple incomplete passes. They threw deep to Davante Adams on that 3rd and 6. And, I mean, the last drive, because they had 5 drives in the second half, the one where we got the field goal, 2 3-and-outs, the 5-play drive where we punted, and then after the interception that sealed the game, that still counted as a drive. So really, when you think about it, we punted the ball 3 out of 4 drives. That's just not where you want to be. That's not helping the defense. And it goes to our point when we talk about special teams, right? Special teams hurting the defense. Now the offense was hurting the defense. I still think this defense has potential.
Yep.
And who was it? Was it Aaron Jones? I think it was Aaron Jones talking about how he was on the Pat McAfee show, actually. And he talked about how this team hasn't put a full game together, and it's going to be scary when they do.
I agree.
Oh, I 100% agree with that, dude.
Yep, I agree.
I mean, let's hear what you got.
Let's say they put the defense of, say, the turnovers of this game with how they played overall against the Chiefs, because if you go back to the Chiefs game, they held the Chiefs offense to 215 yards and only 13 points.
Yeah.
They created 4 interceptions in this game, 4 sacks. And then, the offense of, say, the Bears game where they scored, 24 points in the second half and 21 points in the first half?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, to Aaron Jones's point of not having a complete game put together yet, I mean, you can see where the opportunity lies in that, especially when you give Aaron Rodgers a short field and, where it happened in the first half. Aaron Rodgers snaps the ball, turns, just lofts the ball, and Davante Adams catches it right in his hands for a 25-yard gain. Nobody else does that.
Breadbasket.
Aaron Rodgers does that. Nobody else does that. Nobody else is taking a snap, taking 2 steps, and lofting a ball for 25 yards right into his receiver's hands.
Dude, in stride.
In stride.
That was amazing.
Nobody else does
Aaron
that.
Rodgers, bro.
So, I mean, Davante, unfortunately, did have a couple drops, kind of a bummer. Lazard had a couple drops, kind of a bummer. I do want to say, Lazard on the touchdown that he caught, he got the ball. You can see him turn and look at the defender, and then you can see his eyes just refocus right on the pylon. It was cool to see that other angle of it where Lazard catches the ball, turns, and then instead of looking at the defender, he looks at the pylon, and he just dives and puts the ball right in the pylon. That was a cool angle of that play. It was... You could tell LaFleur was more aggressive in the first half. They went on a 4th and 1, their own 32, I think they were at, the 32-yard line, and they went for a 4th and 1. So LaFleur is willing to be aggressive, and he did address that in one of his conferences, that they felt they were too passive. They weren't aggressive enough in the second half. So it'd be nice to see the Packers get a lead and then go back to the all gas, no brake mentality. And if there's a team I'm happy to run up the score against, it would be the Vikings. So we'll see if they can put that together this week. Josh Nijman got hurt in this game. He ended up going back in, I think. But at one point, the Packers were on their fourth string left tackle.
That's crazy, bro.
We need Bakhtiari back.
Yeah. And it's not because of Nijman, his inability to play. It's just because we need depth at some point, dude.
And we need security at that left tackle position.
Yeah, and we paid him a lot of money. So I mean that's
that's a factor.
We're 2 days away from the anniversary when he tore it. Tore it on December 31st last year.
So, I mean, he's probably going to restructure in the offseason. But that's.
I mean, if you want to keep that bad man around, you might have to.
What I want to say is Aaron Rodgers, I want him to treat himself like a pitcher in softball where you throw the ball and then you immediately take like 6 steps back. Like, don't stay anywhere near your lineman. Just like as soon as you throw the ball, just start backing up. Avoid getting stepped on. It happened to him 2 or 3 times in this game that he got his foot stepped on. And then he's, hobbling around like an old man that just had a hip replacement.
I know. I saw that. I was like, no.
I know. So he needs to throw the ball and then get away from the lineman so he doesn't get stepped on. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I have for the offense. And I guess the big takeaway, stay aggressive, especially in the second half. The Packers have been a really good second half team this season. So let's see them get back to that. So let's move on to Isaac's getting ahead of us a little bit. We are going to talk about that when we get into the preview. I'm going to go through the full list of guys that are on the COVID list. But let's talk about the Packers defense versus the Browns offense.
There goes Isaac again. Just going crazy in the comments.
Yeah, just doing what he wants. Yeah.
Isaac, why don't you just come on the damn show, man, at this point? I mean, seriously, just come on the show. You'll just come on for the Packers, and we'll just talk some football. The defense, I mean, they had 5 sacks. They had 4 interceptions. Those are all positives. We gave up 219 yards rushing. That's a negative. That's a big no-no. That's the things that we've seen the last couple of years where it was kind of the Achilles heel where we're like, oh, man, is this team going to make it? People can just run the ball and keep Rodgers on the sidelines. That's a big, big question mark. I guess this week we'll find out when we play, a very good running back. Dalvin Cook, when healthy, he's great. Let's just be honest. He's explosive.
He's probably also in that top 5 conversation.
Yeah, he's in the top 5 in my opinion. I mean, he's absolutely amazing. He's one of those guys, like we talked about Aaron Jones. He could take a handoff 70 to the house every single play because he's just that fast and he's that explosive. But we'll find out. It's going to be real cold. It's going to be real cold at Lambeau. I'll give you that update in a second here. But we're going to find out something about the defense. We got to stop Justin Jefferson this week. And last week against the Browns, who did they really have? And Baker looked okay at times, and he looked really bad at other times.
Yeah, he made all right, I'm just going to jump in here because you brought it up. So Baker, he did look good at times, and he looked bad at times, but saying that the Packers won because of officiating is BS. It really is. Because there's nobody that has a gun to Baker's head saying you have to throw that ball, and you have to throw that in like the worst possible place that you could. Donovan Peoples-Jones at one point had Rasul Douglas completely spun around in the other direction, and Baker threw a ball that gave Douglas time to turn around, readjust, and go get an interception.
Well, what about the part where Donovan Peoples-Jones has his entire forearm in Douglas' chest? Are we
Dude, that's what I said too. I was telling people on Twitter that after the game, and people are like, "No, well, that's why he had to do that to break away from the holding." It's like, no, you could see Douglas is like off his feet, like being pushed down. And that's just a reflex, is to grab whatever you can to stop yourself from falling down.
Right.
I like a no call there, honestly.
Listen,
I wouldn't have wanted offensive pass interference or defensive holding. I like a no call there.
I like a no call too. That's what I said about the NFC Championship game. They were letting everything go, right? Lazard got held twice. Everybody was getting held all game. And then you want to call one on the final drive of the game?
Dude, he grabbed the dude's towel on a ball that was 10 yards over his head.
Yep. And that's what really, really made me mad is that they finally called one at the end of the game. It's
Right.
like, you're going to let it go the whole game. We're going to fist fight all day. We're going to fight all day. You're going to let them punch me. I punch them back. And I get one final punch, the 10th punch of the match, let's say.
More like
and
a
now
flick,
you call it.
But...
Yeah, and now you call it. There's a couple pictures I got from the Browns game of their cornerbacks holding Devontae. There was no calls. I have one where the guy is at least a yard away, and he's holding Devontae's shirt, and it's stretched out like this, bro. Like this. And they didn't call a flag on that, but nobody's going to complain about that, right?
No, they only complain when the Packers win.
That's what I'm telling you,
So
bro.
this is what I said. If the Packers win, it's because they had ref help. If the Packers lose, it's because the Packers suck, or the Packers choke, or Rodgers choked, or the defense sucks. It's never, it's never anything for the Packers. Like, it's it's getting to a point where there's really like no gray area on the Packers. Like, I feel everybody either like loves or likes the Packers, or they just hate the Packers, and it's, I don't know, whatever. It is what it is, I guess.
Man. Think about the Yankees. Think about the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys were known as winners, in the 80s and 90s. They even won with Starbucks back in the 70s. They're known as winners. So people hate them because their fans are obnoxious. That's how they think about us. They think we're obnoxious and that we don't have brains.
You could throw other people in there. I mean, you could throw like Tom Brady in there. You could throw LeBron in there for an example.
Yeah. People hate winners, man. That is what it is. I welcome the haters because they're going to talk to me and I'm going to say funny stuff back to them, and I enjoy that. That's what I like.
Isaac said that we pay the refs. Yeah, I mean, at some point, like it. What I've heard is if you're arguing with idiots, eventually they'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience.
Oh my God, that's better than the one I heard. I always heard that you don't argue with an idiot because it makes you look like an idiot. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I'm not going to tell you who that was about, but you know the guy.
I won't say. I won't say anything. All right. Yes, David, some people think we're mean and need to grow up. I understand. Even if the people are older than us by a lot.
Way older. Much older. Like twice as old. Like double twice as old as us.
Or even like parent old or parents of the old people. All right. I'll stop.
And then their parents are even older than those old people who are twice triple as old as us. I mean, it's crazy. I have to.
All right. So I did already mention the good adjustment by Rasul Douglas to go get the interception. The Packers did get a really good stop on third down when Cleveland had a drive. They were marching. They stopped Cleveland in the red zone, which is something that had been an issue for the defense in the past. So it was good to see the red zone defense get a stop. TJ Slayton made one really, really nice one-armed tackle. He did a really good job of not grabbing the face mask. He actually had his arm kind of around the face mask of, I don't know if it was Chubb or if it was Johnson, but he had his hand like right around the face mask and he didn't grab. So it was a really, really good disciplined play by TJ Slayton. So it was impressive from a rookie. So I wanted to give him a shout out for that. Stokes almost had a pick. Just didn't. I know. I remember like your reaction was perfect. Yeah.
I was like, oh.
So I do want to see. I'm probably just gonna keep saying this every year, every game, because last year it was the tackling needs to be better, and this year every time I talk about the Packers, I'm just gonna say that the third down defense needs to be better. They need to be better on third down. That's plain and simple. Every week I keep saying I hope the Packers play down to a team's third down completion percentage. Like last week the Browns were converting 38%. And the Packers allow 44. I want to see the Packers play down to somebody's percentage instead of letting somebody complete
up to
what the Packers give up. So I'm probably just going to keep saying that. Tyler Lancaster needs to go.
Well, he's on COVID this week, so.
I did say that I only wrote down relevant players and I didn't have his name written down. So
that's fair.
There was 2 plays in a row. I swear Cleveland ran the same exact play. They ran an outside run right past the left tackle, and both times Tyler Lancaster just jogged and watched the running back go past him. He didn't even stick an arm out. He didn't dive to try to swat his feet to make him trip up. He just jogged, watched the guy go right by him twice in a row.
That's him sprinting.
And then he came off hurt after that.
Bro, do you see what he looks like? He has a refrigerator in the top half of his body.
How's he supposed to carry that? Dude, he has no effort. There's no effort. You're a professional football player. You put Jack Heflin in that situation, and you're going to tell me that he's not going to try to at least make an arm tackle or try to slow him down or dive to try to swat his feet. That was something I brought up with Jack Heflin in the preseason is he didn't give up on plays. And even when plays were getting, 6, 8, 10 yards away from the line, that Heflin was still making tackles. He was getting back into plays even though he's a defensive lineman and he's out of the play. He was getting back in plays. Lancaster was just jogging, watching the guy go by him. That irritated me because it happened twice in a row. And then the next play, he came off hurt. Like, what are you hurt for? You didn't even do anything.
No. He tried to go faster than 2.5 miles per hour, and he couldn't do it. So,
did you hear the announcers make the Eric Stokes to Jair Alexander comparison that I've been making since, we drafted him?
I didn't hear that, no. I was in a loud house on Christmas Day, so it was hard for me to hear
That's
anything they said.
Touche. He was getting a Jair Alexander comparison in the fact that he doesn't get thrown at. That's what I've been saying. He's a coverage corner. He's not an interception corner. Which, now that we're on this, stop saying that Trayvon Diggs is a Defensive Player of the Year MVP candidate. He has 9 interceptions. Cool story, bro. He gives up so many yards, dude. He is Xavier Howard. He is the exact same player. Last year is Xavier Howard. He's the same player. The interception number is cool, and he's a Pro Bowler because of that. Sure. But stop saying he deserves to be in Defensive Player of the Year or MVP conversation.
To be honest, there's so many more players that could be considered for Defensive Player of the Year.
I would put Devondre Campbell over Trayvon Diggs as far as a Defensive Player of the Year concerned. Pro Bowler, sure. But as far as Defensive Player of the Year, when we're talking about 6 weeks in a row of Devondre Campbell having tackles in the teens.
My God, right.
Devondre Campbell's going to have 200 tackles this year, I swear. It feels that way.
The Defensive Player of the Year, until further notice, every year is Aaron Donald. Okay? I don't care what anybody says. He is the best defensive player in the league. Dude, that guy is amazing.
He's the best Defensive Player of the Year. But, as far as who's going to win the award, for me, it's going to be Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett, wow, okay. Not even T.J. Watt?
T.J. Watt is number 2.
You know, the thing about T.J. Watt is if he didn't go out of every game halfway through the game injured, he would have some sick stats, dude. That guy gets to the quarterback damn near every snap, it feels like. Micah Parsons, great pick. He could win Defensive Player of the Year. He's been absolutely crazy for them. We're going to talk about the Cowboys in a few weeks here. I have a feeling. I didn't want to bring them up today because I hate them and I don't like talking about them. But
especially if we don't have to.
Yeah, right. But, this is actually a good segue to my other 2 stats because, people have been talking about Aaron Donald's the best player in football. Aaron Donald's the best player in football. And it feels like one of those things that people are just saying it because they don't want to get into the conversation, right? I'm going to say it right now. Aaron Rodgers is the best player in football. This year, Aaron Rodgers is the best player.
Yep.
So here is 2 stats for you that are freaking mind-blowing, to me at least. The best touchdown to interception ratio over the last 15 weeks. Okay? Dak Prescott is at 2.9. He's 5th. Tom Brady is at 3.7. He's 4th. Carson Wentz, 3.8. 3rd.
Good for him.
Cousins is at 4. So 4 touchdowns for every interception. That's 2nd.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers, 16.5. Yeah, bro. Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Whoa.
Oh, I was going to guess 9. Wow.
Shit. That's what Chantel said. My girlfriend, she was like 8, 9. I was like 16.5, bro. That's 4 times more touchdowns.
That's stat of the week material right there.
Yeah, it is.
16. Damn.
Here's the next one.
Nuts, dude.
Rodgers since last interception. His last interception was on November 14th. He's 132 for 187. That's 70%, almost 71.
Yep,
He
that's
has
what he was on Sunday.
1,580 yards. 16 touchdowns, no picks.
Nice.
This guy is a bad dude. That's a bad man right there. Dude, that touchdown interception ratio.
That's stat of the week material right there.
That's a good
That's
one,
nuts.
baby. Dude, 16.5. The next one is 4. Dude, I was like, no way, bro. That's crazy. And then everybody was complaining when he threw 2 picks against the Saints. I was like, just hold on. Just hold on, everybody. Because he's about to go nuts. I mean, even with that extra week, dude, he's going to throw 40. Come on. He's going to throw 40. He's at 33 right now, right? He'll throw 40.
Yeah.
I think he will. If he's forced, I mean, and if you don't know the number 1 seed race, the Packers win against the Vikings with a Cowboys loss, the Packers will get the number 1 seed. But if the Cowboys win, the Packers have to win. We cannot tie them because then they will be the 1 seed. They'll have the better conference record.
Yep.
So if Rodgers is forced to play against the Lions, he's throwing 40 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd bet that. Easy.
Yeah, I can see that. So before we move into preview, just want to say one more thing. I have a stat. Aaron Jones is now the 3rd consecutive 1,000 scrimmage yard season. So that's obviously receiving yards and rushing yards combined. He's the first one to do it since Amon Green from the 2000 to 2004 seasons.
I used to love Amon Green, dude. I used to hate that he used to fumble all the time because of those damn sleeves, but that guy was awesome, dude.
I saw him at the Shields in Appleton one time, and his calves were like this wide.
Oh, I believe it, dude. That guy was massive. He was massive.
Not Eddie Lacy massive, but he was muscular massive.
Yeah, he was like put together massive. Like, what was he? He was like 6 foot, like 220 or something like that, right?
He was a truck.
He was huge.
Yeah.
And I
Isaac, you're a big Jamal Williams fan, Isaac?
Okay, so since Madden just died, R.I.P. to the GOAT, man. He was awesome. I want to say I remember when Amon Green used to have 98 speed on Madden. He was unstoppable, dude.
Oh, my dad's bringing up the classics, bringing up Don Beebe.
Oh God.
Dad, that jersey's a large, so that jersey will not be worn by me. That'll turn into a belly shirt real quick, and it's too cold in the basement for that.
Yeah, man, I feel that, dude. I have some big ass socks on right now, dude. I'm like, we're freezing down here today, man.
All right. So let's move into the preview. Before we talk about the Packers offense versus the Vikings defense, I do want to throw it out there just because it happened. The Packers did work out a return specialist from the Canadian Football League. I didn't see an official signing. I didn't even see that they signed him to the practice squad, but they did look into it. So I guess before you talk about it, do we have a guess who's going to be returning kicks and punts for the Packers?
Well, we saw a bunch of different people back there. Isaac said it the other day in our chat. Don't let Aaron Jones do it because then Rodgers will get pissed, and I agree. He's way too important. I wouldn't even mess around.
He was only out there because it was an onside kick. That's the only reason he was out there is because they were worried.
I know,
the
but
Ravens were going to do an onside
the
kick.
guy just came back from an injury early too, man. I don't know. I mean, I liked when they put Sullivan back there. If he's sure-handed and you can trust him, he's a vet. He's been around for a long time. He's shown to have decent hands. I'll be completely honest with you. Mm-hmm. If you can rely on him, you feel like he is sure-handed. He can make the right play. He's got the head up there. Why not?
I'll say he's been around the team. He's got some experience. I mean, you let him work on it in practice. Yeah, and Isaac said my other one. So it's between Chandon Sullivan and between him and EQ are the two guys that I would be looking at. It's not going to be Malik Taylor. He's off with he's on IR. Amari Rogers is among the guys on the COVID list, so it's not going to be Amari Rogers. I don't know who else you put back there. I mean, if it's kickoffs, I would be okay with trying MVS on kickoffs. I wouldn't want him doing punt returning just because then he's the only guy back there and he's going to be being gunned. But I mean, on a kickoff, maybe.
I still might put Sullivan back there. He'll be, like I'm saying with the head, he might make the right call. Like, okay, we're not gonna return this one. Okay, we'll return this one. Like, I feel like Sullivan, they put him back there because they could trust him. His head.
So, I mean, I just mentioned MVS. He is activated off the COVID list. So the other thing that I'm thinking is if you say, hey, EQ, we recognize that you've been helpful in the passing game the last couple of weeks with EQ missing time or with MVS missing time. Lazard just came back from an injury a few weeks ago. Isaac asked if we still had Dexter Williams' number. Is if Matt LaFleur and Maurice Drayton could go to EQ and say, hey, can you be our special teams monster this week? Get out there and kick coverage, get out there and punt return coverage, return kicks, and return punts. Just say, hey, your job this week is to be the best special teams player we've had in the last 5 years.
I got a name for you. You remember on the Patriots, there's a guy named Matt Slater, and he does that same thing for them. He basically is he's the head of the defense, and he is a Pro Bowler every year for New England, and they always have good special teams. If that's the role that they give to EQ and he can make that role, and maybe he comes in every once in a while and catches a couple first downs, why not?
He could earn himself a contract extension that way.
Yeah, why not? They'll keep him around if he's making plays, making tackles.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about in this year that Malik Taylor, we felt that he deserved the roster spot over EQ, and that's what came to be. Was EQ didn't make the opening day roster. He didn't make the 53-man roster.
I know, I remember that.
And now, if he can find, he can carve out a niche here and, say, hey, I can do this, and this for you in a position where, this is one of the biggest struggles, if not the biggest struggle on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what was it, like week 5 where the Packers are really struggling in kick coverage, and Alan Lazard went to LaFleur and said, hey, put me out there on the kick coverage, and they won't make it past the 20, and then Lazard went out and made a tackle on the kickoff return.
I remember that, yeah. It might have been. I think, it was really early in the season, week 3, 4, 5, one of those, yeah.
But, I mean, like I said, that could be a situation where EQ could put himself on the roster for next season.
Carpe diem is all I'm going to say. Means seize the day, Latin. You tell EQ, carpe diem, seize the day. Make yourself, like you said, make yourself the best special teams player on the field today,
yep.
Both teams, and we'll go from there. I mean, you want to get a paycheck, you want this to be a lifestyle. Sometimes you got to do things that you didn't know you were going to do.
Yeah, go be a dog. Go earn your spot.
I agree.
So, I already mentioned Amari Rogers. I had a handful of other guys that I wanted to mention. A lot of this does impact special teams, unfortunately. Isaac said he wishes we had a healthy Kylan Hill. So do I. He was looking like he could really do something in the kick return game, but
he was finally starting to turn the corner. God.
I know, and they were giving him some carries too.
I know, man.
All right, so it's Amari Rogers, Tipa Naliai, Ben Braden, Ty Summers, Kingsley Kiki, Tyler Davis, Henry Black, and Corey Bajorquez. So, I mean, the Packers' special teams is definitely taking a big hit, and unfortunately, with Kingsley Kiki missing this week, probably.
Probably what?
That just means more Lancaster.
No, Lancaster's on the COVID list.
Oh, yes, that's right. I forgot about that because I didn't write him down because I don't care. All right.
That's the last thing I saw. I think he's on the COVID list.
I'm not even going to look it up because I don't care. So let's talk about the Packers offense versus the Vikings defense.
All right. So before I get into that, I wanted to, kind of give a shout out to the Vikings, which sounds weird, but I like to show a little respect when it's due. This rivalry has definitely been way better than the Packers-Bears. We have easily dominated the Bears over the last 10 years, right? So I wrote down, since 2010, we played 24 games against the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota has won 8 of those. The Packers have won 14, and there's been 2 ties. So when you add all that stuff together, that's pretty even. I mean, the Packers are winning more. We have the better quarterback. We have the better team. But, outside of that, it's been pretty even, in my opinion. How do I feel about our offense versus their defense? Well, their defense is freaking horrible. They're freaking horrible in total yards. They're horrible against the pass. They're horrible against the run. And they give up a ton of points. That's how I feel about that. Now, something that I brought up with the last game, and it is one of my questions, so I will let you answer that when you get there, is I think we need to run the ball more. Man, I think we need to establish, our physicality a little bit more. I like teams that run the ball. I like, and this game is going to be cold, okay? It's going to be cold. It's going to be classic Lambeau. Let's put Aaron Jones. Let's put A.J. Dillon out there. Oh, man, I can't wait to watch A.J. Dillon run into Anthony Barr in this cold ass
You were
weather.
talking about the Titans game, and that was the first thing that I thought of was the fact that A.J. Dillon looked like Derrick Henry that day.
Bro, I can't wait for A.J. Dillon to put Barr in his ass, bro. I hate Anthony Barr. He's such a prick.
I hate that Vikings fans bring it up as a point of pride that Anthony Barr hurt Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, maybe that's not fair to Anthony Barr. Okay, maybe he didn't try to hurt him. He's probably apologized. They're probably cool in real life, honestly. But, oh my God, every time I see that guy, I'm just like, God, I remember when you ruined my day, you son of a bitch. But yeah, I agree with that. And let's just be honest, man. I mean, we can debate with Bears fans all day, right? But I think I really hate Vikings fans, or Vikings because of their fans. It's kind of how I feel about the Cowboys. I just hate the Cowboys because their fans are just obnoxious. Vikings fans, they win nothing, and they still talk like they're top dog. Oh, we have more division titles, blah, blah, blah. Okay, congratulations. What the hell do you have to show for that? Nothing. And we lead the all-time series. So what does it matter if you won the division more? We lead the all-time series 63 to 56.
It's a weird flex situation where it's like the Packers are excited because we've gone 13-3, 13-3, now we're 12-3, and Vikings fans are like, yeah, but you split with us last year. Like
what? They'll do it again. They will do
it
again.
They will, dude. Even let's say the Vikings win this game. Let's say by some weird stretch of the imagination that the Vikings win this game. Yeah. Let's say the Packers go on to win the Super Bowl, and Vikings fans will be like, yeah, Packers won the Super Bowl, but the Vikings beat the Packers twice.
Yeah, right. Dude, I love Matthew Wagner.
Vikings are the best team because they beat the Super Bowl champions twice in the regular season.
I love talking about Matthew Wagner, bro. But him being like, it's funny seeing Packers fans cry. I'm just trying to make him realize, like, dude, you sound... And I'm not gonna mince words because that's not what I do. You sound like an idiot right now, okay? Oh, we beat the Packers. Oh yeah. Oh, you're so good, but you couldn't beat the Vikings, bro. Stop.
I'm just gonna be like, hold up here. Let me pull up the standings real quick. Yep, Packers are still in first.
Yeah, scoreboard, motherfucker. Yeah, how's that look? I mean, Christ Almighty, I can't stand that shit, dude. It's so annoying. It really is. It's their Super Bowl. I mean, we say it to them, and then they like act like, oh yeah, it's really our Super Bowl. You're not winning the real Super Bowl, so you got to make a fake one up.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too, is like, can't wait to watch the Packers choke in the playoffs this year. Yeah, so are the Vikings. They're all watching on their couches because their season was over after week 18.
I bet you'd rather watch your own team in the playoffs, but you got to cheer for ours to lose. So there's that, too. Yeah. It's just, I'm just so sick and tired. Their defense is terrible. I mean...
They are leading the league in sacks, but that's it.
I know. That was really the game, the last game against the Vikings, where I kind of felt like the offense was kind of turning the corner. Because, we were always good, but we were getting explosive plays. We were getting big chunk plays, and that was the MVS game where he had the 75-yard touchdown at the end of the game there. But that was really the game where the offense was turning the corner. This week, I want to see us pound them right into the ground and send their playoff hopes back to Minnesota with them.
So I'm going to bring up two players, one on offense, one on defense that we didn't have the first time we played the Vikings. And the player for the offense is Aaron Jones. Mm-hmm. We didn't have Aaron Jones when we played the Vikings first time. We talked about the Vikings being a weak run defense, and we were missing our best running back. True. And when we switched to the defense, I'm going to make a similar point. But Minnesota's defense does give up the most points in the last 2 minutes of each half. So... if this is a situation where the Packers can get the ball back with, a minute and change on the clock, like, go get some more points. I like seeing the Packers get the ball at the beginning of the second half because I really believe that every time the Packers get the ball right before halftime, they can go get points, carry the momentum into halftime, and then come out of halftime and get the ball back again right away.
I like when we get the ball back to start seeing it too. It's kind of like one of those things, like, even if you're winning or you're losing, it's like a whole new game kind of mindset, and you're like, okay, Rodgers, get us off to a fast start.
The Bears game is a perfect example of that. The Bears going into halftime are like puffing their chest. They're like, oh, we're beating the Packers. We're up by 6 against halftime. Matt Nagy's like, oh, yeah, we got to be feeling great going into the half. And it's like, you realize the Packers are going to take the lead, like, literally on the first possession.
Right, bro.
Like, you're up by 6 points.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that game was awesome.
So Isaac just said it might be a scary kicking game. So why not just take that out of the equation? Every time you get the ball, every drive, think 7, not 3.
Look at my dad. Look at my dad.
Jake's saying that. Yeah. So Jake's dad said this about arguing with Vikings fans. Don't argue with idiots because people can't figure out who the idiot is.
And then he said arguing with Vikings fans. I mean, you're not wrong. You can't argue with them because they're those people that are never wrong.
So this is a situation where I have a love-hate relationship with Twitter because I'm on Twitter because I want to find more Packers fans so they can come and watch the show and comment with us and stuff. Mm-hmm. I also have to argue with idiots. Like, it sucks. Like, I can't just not do it. Like, the whole crying ref comment, like, that narrative is so tired and washed, and it's really not true. Like, you look at some of the worst things that have happened to the Packers, like last year's NFC Championship game, or the Fail Mary, for example. Like, that happened against Packers. Packers always get the ref out. Like you mentioned just now about the Browns game where the receiver is, the cornerback is holding on to Devontae's jersey. You only complain about it when it benefits the Packers. Like, it happens to the Packers too. We talked about it 2 weeks in a row about Rasul Douglas getting really bad pass interference calls.
Yeah.
And then MVS not getting a pass interference call. Or Devontae Adams getting a bad offensive pass interference call. All that tells me is that you watch one Packer game every season.
Or they're not watching the whole thing. I mean, either or. I mean, I guess it took me a long time to learn this, and obviously you guys see my dad's comment, so he's been harping on me for a long time about this. That's what I do. My dad said just smile at them. That's what I do. I ignore most of them because I'm like, I know this conversation is really just going to be wasting my time. So, most of the time I just let it go. But if there's somebody that really says something that gets me going, where I'm just like, did you really say that? And there's certain people that I just argue with because they really just say dumb stuff. And I know that I could beat them in an argument. Then I'll chime in a few comments here and there. But then they just call me a big meanie.
The other thing I hate is when you put in, say, some statistical evidence and then you get yeah, but that's not what it looked like. And it's like just the nuh-uh. Like, you could say, X and O stat, and then somebody else could just be like, nuh-uh. Like, that's such a stupid thing where it's like, okay, yep, I'm done responding because you're just literally stupid. Isaac brought up the no pass interference when Lazard made his one-handed catch. His other arm was being held onto, and he still made the one-handed catch. So, for every time that the officiating benefits the Packers, I can give you an example of when it didn't. And it's a tired narrative that needs to go away.
I agree with that. So, I wanted to get into something before you do your offense. I wrote down. I went out of my way and I did some little thing that I really want. I'm excited for Tyler's reaction to this. So, I wrote down the last 3 games against the Vikings for Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. And this live reaction is going to be awesome. So, this goes back to September 13th last year, first game. November 1st last year, and then the November 21st game against the Vikings. So, Rodgers had 32 of 44 for 364 yards and 4 touchdowns, no picks. Then he had 27 for 41, 291 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. I think you're seeing a trend here. He went 23 of 33 for 385 yards and 4 touchdowns, no picks. So in the last 3 games versus the Vikings, Aaron Rodgers, 82 of 118, 1,040 yards, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. Yeah, dude. So, Davante Adams now. This is just a 2-man wrecking crew. Best 1-2 punch in the league, no doubt. They were debating it on First Take this morning. So, Devontae had 14 catches, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. Then he had 7 catches, 53 yards, 3 touchdowns. 7 catches, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. So in the last 3 games, Devontae has 28 catches, 324 yards, and 7 touchdowns.
Damn.
Dude. They can't stop him. They can't stop either of them. Oh my God. And then, you add in Isaac's comment of Aaron Jones eating the Vikings where he gets 100 yards every time. They got to stop us too. And all I keep hearing is that we got to stop Justin Jefferson. He had a great game against us, and Dalvin Cook's top 5 and all this bullshit. You got to stop us too, man. And we got the best player in the league. That's all I'm saying.
So as we move into now the Packers defense versus the Vikings offense, a good piggyback off of that now is this was around the time that the Packers played the Vikings the first time, is that people saying that Kirk Cousins is in the same league as Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. And this was after Aaron Rodgers had missed a game, that their stats were similar.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins has 35 more completions than Aaron Rodgers and 3 fewer touchdowns.
Yeah,
they are not the same.
They're not. I mean, Kirk Cousins has been pretty good this year, I won't lie. But that last game, he was taking a lot of checkdowns.
He takes a lot of checkdowns.
He did not want to take any chances. Where Rodgers makes throws, and you're just like, holy moly, how did he complete?
And he doesn't turn the ball over when he does that either.
Right. He
puts it where only his guys can catch the ball.
Oh,
like the throw to MVS that he had in the Ravens game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody makes that throw. Nobody does that.
No, it was filthy. Absolutely filthy.
So,
Rodgers, dude.
Kirk Cousins, we just mentioned it, he doesn't turn the ball over a lot. So if the Packers are getting any turnovers, if they get any sort of interceptions, Packers are 4th in the NFL in interceptions this year. If they get any sort of turnovers, whether it be interceptions, fumbles, turnovers on downs, they need to capitalize on those. Yes. That hurt them in the second half against the Browns. They got some picks off of Baker Mayfield. They need to go and capitalize off of that. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they scored touchdowns off the first 3 interceptions, and then in the second half, only scored 3 points.
Yep.
So the Packers need to capitalize on those mistakes if they get them, and then they just need to stay aggressive. Both ends of the ball. So I mentioned I was going to have 2 players, one on offense, one on defense. My defensive player, and I've said this a whole bunch of times, is Rashaan Gary. Packers didn't have Rashaan Gary the first time they played the Vikings this season, and if they had, I strongly believe the Packers would have won that game for a couple of reasons. One, because the pass rush was just lacking, and that got Justin Jefferson open plenty of times. He had a big game. A couple of that was Eric Stokes being out of position a couple times on some zone plays, but no Adam Thielen for the Vikings. He's on IR. He's done for the season.
He's done, yeah.
So the Packers can focus on Justin Jefferson this week. Now, the other thing with that is there were a couple penalties committed, some roughing the passer penalties. There was one helmet-to-helmet hit. That took away an interception from the Packers.
Yep.
So there was an interception wiped out by penalty. Yep, it was Darnell Savage had an interception that was wiped out by a penalty. So having Rashaan Gary, not having those penalty mistakes, but also having some pass rush, I think that swings the game in that favor. So not only are we getting Rashaan Gary, also getting Aaron Jones. That's 2 solid players, one on each side of the ball. So that is what I'm ready for the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's talking about what we're going to get back in Bakhtiari and Z maybe and Jair, but, what we're getting back is players that have been producing that missed that, that one single game that could have changed that game. So that was great stuff by you, man. That's all great points, in my opinion. I mean, Gary's going to completely change this game.
Yep.
Cousins is a statue. He's an old school kind of quarterback. Sit back there, throw some mid, throw some short, maybe take a shot deep every once in a while. But he's a statue. He's not running past anybody. So if we can force him off his platform, he could throw some up. I could see the Packers are real good at home. So I could see us getting 2-3 interceptions this game. I really feel that way. Douglas is always good for one.
I feel they're less likely to get a higher interception number. I feel like this is a game where they could have like 5 or 6 sacks.
Okay. I want
Kenny Clark will be back this game too.
I want another Douglas pick 6, dude. Real bad.
I know. I love some Rasul Douglas.
Oh, it's the best, dude.
All right. So a couple things I want to mention. The offenses, if you go by per game totals, are actually pretty close.
Yeah.
For the Packers, it's just all about efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at the defenses, and that tips the scale away in the Packers' favor. So
Yes.
the Packers just need to play, even if you just play an average special team game, just keep it clean. Don't give up any big returns. Don't give up any touchdowns. And just don't give the ball away.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be fine. You look at time of possession. Minnesota's right in the middle of the league, and the Packers are top 3 in time of possession. So this could be an interesting game as far as score-wise goes. Hopefully the Packers can mitigate the guys they're missing on the COVID list, but I don't know if there's anything else you want to throw out there with the Packers defense versus the Vikings offense.
No, I am ready to be Jake Burgundy and give my score prediction.
All right.
Jake Burgundy is here, everybody. This is a Sunday night game. Packers going into this game favored by 6.5. The over/under is 47.5. Take the over because this game's going to score a lot of points, I feel like. Last Sunday night game of the year, I believe. It's going to be 3 degrees. But the real feel on the field is negative 14 degrees. That's added in the wind chill. It's going to be partly cloudy and very cold. It goes on to say that hypothermia is a possibility if not wearing the correct clothing. So it's going to be cold. It's going to be an old-fashioned football game. It's going to be a high-scoring football game in my prediction. The Packers play good defense. I'm expecting us to get a lot of turnovers, which means more opportunities for Aaron Rodgers, but also more stats for Kirk Cousins in that offense. So my score prediction, Jake's score prediction, is 37-27 Green Bay Packers.
It's close. Actually, both of my scores for the football games are close this week, but I'm going to say 34-24. Also a 10-point margin of victory on the Packers.
That's good. So I got 2 questions for you.
All right.
Ready for this?
Tyler and Jake's Q&A. Do it up.
Okay. So my first question, say you can guarantee a victory, right?
Okay.
This one's kind of would you rather. Would you rather Rodgers throw for 450 yards and a couple touchdowns, or would you rather the Packers rush for 300 yards?
Throw. I'm more excited by watching Rodgers and Davante's connection, even though. All right. I'm gonna change my answer. If it's let's say 150 by Jones and 150 by Dillon, I love like in the Rams game where AJ Dillon was met by a dude in the secondary and their shoulder pads connected and like it was just boom and then dude was down. Watching AJ Dillon run people over is so fun. I really can't describe how fun it is. Like Davante.
I just want to know what that feels like.
Rodgers and just tell Aiden to put some football pads on and just try it once.
No, I'm not abusing my stepson, man. The little guy.
All right. Like feeling Rodgers to Davante, I feel like is a sure thing. Like every time Rodgers throws the ball to Davante, like I feel like it's going to be caught. So seeing Aaron Jones doing his thing and then just seeing AJ Dillon running people over, that's really fun. It'd be fun to see guys try to take AJ Dillon on. Most of the guys that go at AJ Dillon to tackle him usually try to tackle him from the side or go at his legs. So I would like to see if, let's say, the Packers were to meet the Cowboys in the playoffs, to see Micah Parsons try to stand up AJ Dillon and see AJ Dillon just run him over.
That would be a great matchup, in my opinion. Because Micah's a young guy, and he goes in, like, no fear.
He's got
Dillon,
confidence, yeah. So
and AJ's a young guy, too, but he's ran everybody over, Same thing with Micah. That would be a great collision. Head on, man, full speed. So my answer is I would love to watch them just rush all over them because when you're rushing the ball, you are physically dominating somebody.
Yeah.
So
yep.
rushing for 300 yards would be awesome. That means, and Rodgers is already so good off the play action. So you get 300 rush yards, Rodgers is going to have some downfield opportunities. Let's just be completely honest. So that would be crazy. My next question, how do we defend the Minnesota Vikings? I mean, we're coming off, Justin Jefferson's great game. We know what Dalvin Cook can do. So what personally are you going to do? Are you going to add more people in the box? Are you going to trust your corners? I mean, what are you going to do?
So for me, I mean, kind of a little bit of both, honestly. There was mentioned in the recap a little bit that they hate the soft coverage. For me, I don't like zone defense when you have capable secondary players because I feel that creates opportunity for guys to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. It happened to Eric Stokes in the first Minnesota matchup where he ended up in the wrong place, the wrong time, caught in between Thielen and Jefferson at different levels. He wasn't in a position to defend either one of them. You say to Eric Stokes, who's a rookie, say, hey, guard number 18, that's it. And you have Darnell Savage and Adrian Amos, a great safety tandem back behind him. And you don't have to worry about Adam Thielen on the other side this week. And you let Rasul Douglas do his thing on KJ Osborne. They don't have a healthy Irv Smith, who honestly I don't think is that big of a threat anyways. But that gives your front seven the opportunity to do. There were Vikings fans saying that Irv Smith was going to be a Pro Bowler at tight end.
I think he has the talent. He just doesn't get the targets. I mean, Tyler Conklin is really their better tight end.
So I would say man defense in the secondary and let the front seven focus on Dalvin Cook. That's what I would say.
I agree. I think, coupled with, the Packers scoring points, I'm going to need Rodgers and Devontae and Aaron Jones to do their thing. Let's get some points, get the crowd into it. We get ahead of them. That's going to take Dalvin out of the game a little bit. I mean, he'll get his little checkdowns, but and then I think you just roll coverage over to Justin Jefferson's side. You always make sure that you have a safety over the top of him, and you kind of bracket cover him. That's what I would do. Don't let him do crazy stuff. He's going to get his catches. I mean, especially with Thielen out, he's going to get targets. He's probably in line for 10+, 12+ targets this game.
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to get targets. He's going to get opportunities, but just don't let him get those big chunk plays. You go back to that Bengals game. I mean, Chase really didn't get that many targets, if I remember correctly, but he got a couple chunk plays, and that's really what made him look great that week. So, I mean, you just control that, keep everything in front of you, and wrap up and tackle. That's all I got to say. And if you're going to the game,
especially in the
be
cold,
loud. Be loud. I need Kirk Cousins to not know what he's doing because I like when he looks goofy and throws pick sixes because that's hilarious. So that's all I got to say. I just wanted to know what you were going to say. That was interesting stuff, I think.
All right. You have anything else Packers related? I have one thing to say before we move in. I have the perfect transition.
Nope, I'm ready.
All right. So Christmas Day, this was really weird. The Packers and the Bucks. I was watching the Bucks game on TV. I had the Packers game going on my phone. The Packers and the Bucks challenged plays at the exact same time.
What?
It happened at the same time. It was really weird. Yeah, so that's my transition to talking about the Bucks.
I like that. I like that. It's interesting.
All right, so let's talk about the Bucks, starting with the Rockets game. Chris Middleton was back from his knee hyperextension, so let's talk about the Bucks and Rockets.
Yeah, Chris Middleton, like you already mentioned, he was back, and you could tell the difference in the team, the game flow was much better. They had a second star. I mean, not just Drew Holiday. They had Middleton that could take some of that pressure off. They could play through him for a couple minutes at a time. But Nawara was great, 18 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. And Demarcus Cousins, man. Demarcus Cousins. Yeah, I was going to let you mention that, by the way. You brought that amazing clip up. But Cousins, 18-8, bro. He was balling on his old team. And then
we're going to talk a lot about Demarcus Cousins today.
We are. Wes Matthews, dude, 16 points, 6 of 7, 4 of 5 from downtown. I mean, he was awesome. I mean, overall, the Bucks, they shot 37% on threes. You can't really ask for more. That's good shooting. That's
solid,
average. They shot 43% on field goals. They did well rebounding the ball. And 25 assists is probably where I put that mark where I'm just like, okay, everybody's locked in. Everybody's touching the ball.
Yep.
We're all getting touches. And I feel like they were just the better team. What was really odd in this game is that Pat Conatan had another bad shooting game, but the Bucks were able to get a double-digit win. Pat's going to have those every once in a while.
So
and these are the games where the Pat haters come out.
Yeah,
this is the games where the Pat haters come out. But, yeah, I'm done after that. So, what do you got, buddy?
I have a handful of stuff with this game. Like, when we talk about the Mavericks game, I don't have much for that one. Just because I was, I'm not going to lie, it was kind of a boring game. But the Rockets game, so I'm just going to go top down. We had George headband in this game, so I'm gonna throw that out there. George Hill was wearing a headband, which is weird.
It looked
George,
weird.
I did. It looked weird.
His head looked so tiny.
That's probably Bobby
That's what I
Portis' headband. That's probably why.
That big old fat headband.
That's the headband that makes his eyes pop out.
It squeezes his head. Oh, geez.
I'll send you a meme that I have after we're done. It was the
Okay.
funniest meme that I have, and it's Bobby Portis, but it's
Oh,
so funny.
God.
Maybe I'll post it on the page because it's too funny. Mentioned Chris Middleton was back this game. Grayson Allen was out in this game, so I saw some people kind of questioning why we're not doing as much with Grayson Allen. I'll talk about that when we get towards the end of the show, or towards the end of the Bucks. But no Grayson Allen in this game. You already mentioned Jordan Nwora. One of my big takeaways from this game is that Drew Holiday is too strong and too crafty for anybody. Drew Holiday, I really feel, deserves to be an all-star this year. He's he backs down anybody. He doesn't care if you're 6 inches taller than him. Like, he knows that he is stronger. Like, he literally just backs dudes into the restricted circle and then gets layups.
That's what he does, man.
Like, Drew is too strong for anybody. Like, it doesn't matter. So you mentioned Pat Conatan. He had an off day. He got kicked in the face. I don't know if you saw that or not. He was attempting a 3, and a guy went out to contest, and he got hit like right here, like right in the side of the eye, like the same spot that he was bleeding from in the Brooklyn game. So you could see it during the game. They showed it. He had like a big purple ring around his eye. So, I mean, that could have contributed to his bad shooting, but 2 of the 3s that he hit were like super deep 3s, like longer than Curry range 3s. So Pat Conatan, the ones that he hit, he made them count. You mentioned Wesley Matthews. Wesley Matthews was back from the health and safety protocols, and he found out while he was in the health and safety protocols that his grandma died. And he came out and he played probably his best game that he's played in like the last 3 years.
Yeah, man.
16 points. He was 6 for 7. He was 4 of 5 on 3s. He said he felt like it was his job to honor his grandma. Budenholzer talked about him being a warrior and just really putting his heart into the game. So it's good for Wesley Matthews. Obviously, it's good for the Bucks. So that was encouraging to see. So that was nice to see. More than 50% of Houston's total field goals were 3s.
Yeah, I know. I see that.
And they shot 28.9% on 3s.
They're a young team, man. They go up and down. They shoot a ton of 3s, man. They shoot a ton of 3s.
So now the last 2 weeks where I've ranted about the Bucks wanting teams to shoot 3s, this is why. This played perfectly into the Bucks game plan. They want you to shoot 3s because it's the lowest percentage shot you can shoot. Midway through the second quarter, the Bucks went on a 16-0 run and kind of just never really looked back. The last 3 takeaways that I'll have. 1 bad, 2 good. The bad one, the Bucks need to work on their pick and roll defense. The Bucks do a lot of switching, but when they're not switching, they need to work on pick and roll defense.
Boogie's a little slow on it.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt more so when we're playing a team like, say, the Nets, and James Harden and Kevin Durant are running pick and rolls. That's where the Bucks are going to need that experience. They're going to need to be better.
Yeah.
It seemed like Atlanta doesn't really concern me as much. Philadelphia doesn't concern me. Honestly, Chicago still doesn't concern me. We haven't seen a head-to-head matchup there yet, but the Knicks don't concern me. The Hornets really don't concern me in pick and roll, but just overall, it needs work for when we're getting deep into the playoffs. That's something you need to have polished. We're really only a couple games over like a third of the way through the season, so I'm not concerned, but that's something to work on. The two good things we just talked about last week. We made goals for the All-Star break. For me, free throw shooting and turnovers were 2 of my goals. Only 5 turnovers in this game by the Bucks, and they were 19 for 21 at the free throw line.
There you go.
Very happy to see those 2 things. So with that said, we can move on to the Mavericks game. They were still good on the free throw line, 18 for 22. Drew Holiday is an awesome defender. There was one play where he poked away a steal, tapped the ball down to the other end of the floor, went and got the ball, pump faked, got fouled, laid the ball in, and got an and one.
He's honestly underrated, in my opinion. He's underrated.
He got first team All NBA defense last year, and he deserves that because he's insane. He's the best defending point guard in the NBA. I'll say it.
100%. You can't name another one that's close.
You can't. You can't. I mean, if Ben Simmons was playing, you could throw that out there. But I mean, he's missed so much time, and at that,
Holiday always ends up with the steal in the clutch time, bro. I was waiting to say that for the Christmas Day, but he always gets a steal in clutch, and it's always against a good player. I mean, on Christmas Day, he stole it from Tatum. I mean, Tatum is probably Boston's best player. I mean, in the first half of that game, it was Jaylen Brown, but he's probably Boston's best player, and Drew Holiday is just so strong and quick, and he's just so good on defense. He always knows where the spot to be. He studies people's, their way that they play. He's just Drew Holiday, man. I love that guy. I need to get his jersey.
I have one of his. Bobblehead. I have the earned edition that has the antlers on the side. I have Drew Holiday.
I mean, he's awesome, dude. Drew Holiday.
So Wesley Matthews stayed hot. Demarcus Cousins got real hot. You're really seeing flashes of what Demarcus Cousins can bring. He's 22 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, for a guy that we just scooped up off the free agency, he's played 13 games, the Bucks, so far. Pretty happy with what Demarcus Cousins is bringing, and I'm glad they've kind of gradually worked him in. And then for the Mavericks, I mean, Jalen Brunson, Dwight Powell, and Marquise Chris were the only guys that are really effective for them. I don't know if you have a ton you want to say about the Bucks and Mavericks game.
I agree with your point. This game was boring. It was hard to watch at some points. It was kind of, no Luka kind of took away, no Giannis kind of took away the spice of this game. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. But Middleton played good. Middleton and Holiday do what I expect them to do. They scored, they assisted, they rebounded. Boogie getting hot, that was awesome to watch. The Bucks shot pretty poorly from three-point line. They were 10 of 36. It's pretty bad. But, they rebounded well. They shot pretty good overall. 45% is not bad as a team. That's pretty solid. But, no, there was really nothing. This was one of those games where I was like, why is it this close right now? Why are the Mavericks winning right now? They should not be winning right now. But the Bucks ended up winning this game, and that's what I expected. And then we went to Christmas Day, and oh my God, that game was hard to watch in the first half.
That game was rough at times, but the second half was fun to watch.
Yeah, that was when it got good, man. And keep going.
Tim, I have a guy for my Bucks jerseys.
Yeah. We know a guy, huh?
I know a guy. Not 100% sure on authenticity all the time, but.
Yeah, one of those guys who knows a guy, huh?
Yep, a guy knows a guy. So let's talk about the Celtics game. Dante, Giannis, and Bobby were all cleared on the Friday before the Saturday game. It's really the healthiest that they've been basically since game 1. And honestly, you could basically just say you're trading Brook for Dante's health. And the Bucks are about as healthy as they've been all season. So they got off to a slow start, but let's talk about the Bucks-Celtics game.
So to start this out, I wanted to give some credit to Tatum and Brown. They're two terrific players.
That's a really good duo.
Yeah, it really is. They're both young. They can both shoot. They're both 3-level scorers. And Tatum has really improved on defense this year, in my opinion. Jaylen Brown's always been a good defender. So I always used to argue with people and say that Jaylen Brown is better than him because he's a two-way. But Tatum has really, really stepped up his game.
I feel a good comparison for Jaylen Brown. He's in the Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan tier of players.
Yeah, he's really, really good, but he's not like a franchise player, I guess I'll say.
Yeah, he's not a cornerstone.
Yeah. But they're both really good. They both had 25 in this game, and Jaylen Brown was going crazy in the first half until Jason Tatum knocked his tooth out. So thank you for that, Tatum. But man, Giannis was back, and it's just crazy to me, man. Giannis comes back off the COVID list, and he's just like, you know what? I feel like doing 36, 12, and 5. And I'm like, all right. How do you? I just don't understand. Some guys, dude, they're just too damn good. Giannis is a monster. Middleton 17, Holiday 17, Bobby 16 and 10, double. I mean, and like I was just saying, dude. Okay, so the two plays that were the craziest. First of all, Drew Holiday made two of the most important plays in this game. He had the assist to Giannis to tie the game at 111. And then he had the steal. You know, he throws it to Middleton. Middleton throws it back to him. He gets blocked. We get the rebound. We throw it out to Wes Matthews. Let's go, baby. Like, that was so sick. I was like, let's go. I'm at my mom's house.
That 114-113 was the first lead of the game.
I know. That was freaking nuts, dude. But my sister's baby was sitting on the ground, right? And, like, my baby is used to me screaming and being a psychopath during the games and at my video games. And she just looks at me like, da-da, like, what's going on, da-da, like, I'm just 6 months old, baby. And then my niece, she's, like, not used to that. She's also 6 months old. She's 10 days older than my daughter. She sees me go, whoa, let's go. I'm screaming super loud. My mom's used to it. Everybody's used to it. She looks at me and she just is just like, who the hell is this guy and why is he in my house right now? And she was just so scared of me the rest of the day on Christmas, dude, because I was screaming at the TV. She had no idea what was going on. But thank you, Wesley Matthews, for making my niece scared of me. I just wanted to say that part.
That's awesome. It's not awesome, but it's funny.
It was funny.
Middleton is showing off his passing in this game. He still does not get foul calls, which is frustrating. Like he's trying to be aggressive at times, and he just doesn't get foul calls. It's frustrating. Because he's such a great free throw shooter. If he got to the line, say 6 to 8 times a game, that's where he could really up his scoring into the mid-20s instead of hovering in the 19 to 20 point range.
I agree with that.
The Bucks just went nuts from the 3-point line in the third quarter. Chris, Bobby, Pat, Dante all hitting threes. Giannis just on a mission at 17 points in the third quarter. Just nuts. Pat Conatan playing transition defense, diving on the floor. The Bucks won the third quarter by 11. The Bucks 43 points in that third quarter was the highest scoring quarter of the season. So that's obviously good when you're coming down into a double-digit deficit. But then you come into the fourth quarter. It seemed like Giannis was forcing a lot in the fourth quarter. Like, he had a great third quarter, and then he kind of started forcing plays. He was trying to force shots and passes. Took it till 8:08 in the fourth quarter until the Bucks scored in the fourth quarter. Just turnovers and Celtics making shots, pushed the lead back up to double digits, and then the Bucks cranked the defense back up. They cut the lead to single digits with just under 4 minutes to go. We mentioned Wesley Matthews hitting the go-ahead bucket. Giannis is doing work in the paint, making his free throws, and then it really became a team effort of free throws towards the end of the game. Chris Middleton made a bunch of free throws. Giannis playing defense. And I'm going to make a statement. I don't think this is a hot take, but this is a statement that I want to make, is that Giannis is the best in the NBA at recovering for weak side blocks.
I would agree to that.
Because he did it to Williams, similar to how he did it to DeAndre Ayton in the finals. So, like, his awareness and speed to be looking at a ball handler, turn around, and then adjust and go block a shot to a guy who thinks he's got an open dunk. I don't think there's anybody better in the NBA at it than Giannis.
I think his quickness and his length are two things that contribute to that. He's not supposed to be that fast, that quick, that agile at 6'10", let's be honest, 6'11", 7 feet. And then he's just got go-go gadget arms, and he's just in control of everything. I mean, he's amazing. Dude, Giannis doesn't get enough credit for how good he is at blocking shots, I feel like. But how much credit can one guy get? You give him credit for everything?
He's at a point where he got so good so fast after winning the most improved player that he's obviously got his 2 MVPs. He got the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same year. Now that, like, people are kind of used to how good he is, that even though he's getting better still, that people are already like, well, Giannis is already a monster. Like, it's hard to notice him getting better even though he is.
Yeah, he is. He's getting better at ball handling, I think, this year. That's one thing that I've noticed. is his ball handling in tight traffic, in my opinion. It's been a lot
And
better.
for me, his awareness, basketball IQ is something that he's working on, and you can see it at times.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you want to say anything else about the Celtics game before we talk about the Magic?
No. I just want to say thank you to James being a great sport. This was the first game that our big three played and finished the game against you, though. So just gonna say that. And against the Magic, after we got the Magic, win against the Magic, when all three are playing, we're 15-2 now.
Oh, so, you stole my big three stat.
Sorry, man.
You dirty dog. You stole my big three stat.
I had it on the top of my head. It's written in big, bold ink letters.
It's on the top of my notebook. But all right.
Man. Yeah, they're 15-2. Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, the big three play, we got a real 95% chance of winning. That's just how I feel. That's what the stats say. Anyways, keep going. Magic. I didn't get to watch this game. The weather was really bad, and I was stuck at work. I hate when they play on Tuesday nights, so I had to watch highlight videos of this game. So Tuesday night games, I don't get to watch.
All right, I did watch this game. In the beginning of this game, Robin Lopez was showing why the Bucks still need a rim protector. It's really weird. Like when the Bucks had John Henson, he was automatic with like his left-handed jump hook, and Robin Lopez is like automatic with his right-handed jump hook. It took them a while to start forcing him left, and when they did, he was missing some layups, and he got some turnovers. So the Bucks still need a rim protector, and Robin Lopez showed why. Bobby Portis has improved on defense, but he's still not a defender, I would say. And he's not a rim protector. That's not a secret. Mm-hmm. What I will say is Drew Holiday's mid-range has improved immensely. Like his mid-range is just butter. Like he's hitting like last year's offense. We talked about it. Like if Drew Holiday was playing better on offense, he'd be in the All-Star conversation. Now he's playing better on offense, and he should be in the All-Star conversation. And he's just keeping it going. And then he's just casually doling out 10 assists on top of his 18 points.
Man, is he ever.
Chris Middleton added 21 points in this game. Giannis had 28, 6 and 6. Bobby Portis had 19 points, 17 in the first half. He started with 5 for 5 on threes. What I will say, and I noticed this, and I think it's something the Bucks are doing, is it's going to kind of tie into something that I think is a little bit weird, but the Bucks only had 8 fast break points in this game. But what I noticed that they did several times, and it led to a lot of good stuff for Bobby Portis, is that when the Bucks go and start their transition, Bobby Portis purposely lags behind the play. I saw this a couple of times where I'm watching the back half of the screen, and the Bucks are taking off. Giannis is taking off. Bobby Portis looks like he's going to start taking off, and then he stops and he just jogs up the court. And it led to a few plays where he just walked into threes, and he hit them right in stride. And then in the second half, at one time where he walked into a three and then passed to Grayson Allen, who was wide open, and hit a three. So I think that's kind of a secondary transition thing that the Bucks are doing on purpose, and they're letting Bobby Portis trail the play. And while everybody's focused on Giannis and starting to pack the paint, Bobby Portis is just walking into wide open threes from straight on.
I mean, if he's hitting them, man, that's kind of dangerous. What are you going to do? You're going to only send one guy at Giannis and just let him score 50, or are you going to let Bobby take his chance? I mean,
that scores 17 points in the first half.
Yeah, 5 of 5 from 3. Man, that's crazy, man.
So this was a cool thing. I felt like it was a really good big 3 play. This was right in the beginning of the second half. Chris Middleton gets a steal, outlets it to Drew. Drew brings it up the floor, lobs it to Giannis for an alley-oop. It just felt like a perfect big 3 play. Like Middleton got a steal, outlets to Holiday. Holiday brings it up, throws a lob to Giannis. Oh, perfect big 3 play.
Giannis and Holiday, their connection is special this year, man. They really know when they go for the lobs.
They do. And obviously it works for Drew. The Bucks had 19 assists in the first half.
Yeah, that's a ton.
So the ball movement was awesome. Bobby Portis was making his heat check threes, which was just nuts. It was George Hill, not Grayson Allen, that got the assist from Bobby Portis. Grayson Allen was the only player that played in the first half that didn't score. Everybody else that played in the first half scored. Orlando was 2 for 15 on threes in the first half.
Eesh.
They were much, much better in the second half on three-pointers. They cut the lead to single digits at one point, but the Bucks had their second highest scoring half of the season, 72 points in the first half. The Magic were 10 of 24 in the second half, so much better in the second half. But the Bucks showed they were the more disciplined team. They finished the game on a 16-6 run. It's just interesting to see the Bucks not having a lot of fast break points, but still scoring 119 points.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They finished 31 total assists. So I didn't look. I should have looked. That's probably their highest of the season. But 38 bench points. So it's good to see we've had this a bunch of times where we're not getting a lot of bench production. And now that the guys that are on the bench are playing where they're supposed to be, and all the bench guys aren't starting, we're starting to see why we believe that the Bucks are the deepest team in the NBA.
Amen.
So I don't know what takeaways you had from that.
It's kind of the same thing with the Packers. With the Bucks is when we get our actual starters back, our depth is going to be insane because these guys were getting starter minutes, getting put in different situations. So now their skills are just sharpened. I mean, they say iron sharpens iron. So having those guys go in against starting players is really just going to be awesome for us down the stretch.
So this is where this trajectory has gone. Jordan Nwora had 4 straight games of scoring in double figures, went to a did not play against the Celtics to inactive against the Magic.
Man.
So that's where the Bucks getting healthy really shows up. That's where these guys are. Jordan Nwora, still a prospect, got a lot of potential, got to flash some, and now he's back to being a two-way player, which is where he's going to be when everybody's healthy. So I don't know if you have any takeaways before I ask you a couple questions.
No, I mean, I'm ready. Let me see. Let's see.
All right, so I want to ask you. I want to ask you about 2 players. Okay. The first one I'm going to ask you about is how do you feel about Demarcus Cousins so far in the 13 games that he's played with the Bucks?
I would say, so if I was grading this, I would say that he is a little bit in between the area of meeting and exceeding expectations. I mean, you're never really going to know with a big guy like this, with those lower leg injuries. So you really got to take your time on it. But he's had a couple games now where he's played really, really, really big for us scoring.
I'm going to throw out some stats for you because I asked for a reason.
Yeah.
Give him a letter grade.
A letter grade? Overall, meeting, exceeding expectations. On the spot, I would say a B. I'd give him a B because he's been kind of iffy on defense. He's a little slow on the pick and roll, like I said. But on offense, scoring in the paint. And I texted you that last week. I said he's going to be awesome in the playoffs. He's going to give us a lot of points in the paint, get a lot of foul calls.
So I was thinking B+, so I'll take your B. He's playing just under 17 minutes a game in the 13 games that he's played with the Bucks. He's averaging 8.5 points and 5.8 rebounds. Now, in the last 5 games, so we're talking Magic, Celtics, Mavericks, Rockets, and before that, I don't remember who it was before that, but that game he had 12 points. He's averaging 14 points, just over 8 rebounds, and 1.8 assists on 27 of 57 shooting, which is 47% on field goals. He's not a good three-point shooter, so I don't know if that's something that'll come along, but he's not a good three-point shooter.
Yeah, he hasn't been so far. He's actually missed pretty badly on a lot of them.
Yeah, he's shooting like 25%. And then he had one game where he had 5 steals. That was against Cleveland. So for me, I would say a B+, and he's ramping up. So what we're seeing recently, I feel, is more indicative of what we can see going forward.
Yeah, he's definitely showing the player that was voted as an All-NBA second-team player, like 22 and 8, like that's big-time numbers. When Brook comes back, right, now you feel confident if Brook gets 2 fouls early in the first quarter. You're like, we could put Boogie in. We could put Bobby in.
I was going to say, you don't have to immediately go to Giannis at center because that can be physically draining for him.
Yeah, we have a lot of options. I mean, Boogie on the Bucks as the backup center is gonna be a problem for people. That's just how
I feel helps them against a team, say like Atlanta,
I feel. Yeah.
who was rocking with Clint Capella, obviously, or even Miami. Say Bam Adebayo is healthy, and then they roll with a guy like Dwayne Dedman. Remember the times they tried to beat us with Dwayne Dedman, which was weird, but they gave it their shot.
He actually played really good.
He did, and he can actually shoot a little bit. But
yeah,
that gives you just the depth is so important.
mm-hmm.
So the other guy that I want to ask you about is super small sample size, but I've already seen people criticizing. How do you feel about Dante DiVincenzo so far?
I knew when you said
really small sample size, but we need to talk about it because people are talking about it.
Dude, Dante is a good player on this team. He's one of those guys. He's just a puzzle piece guy. You just plug him in. You tell him you either need him to shoot threes or go guard this guy, or he's gonna cause havoc.
Floor.
He causes turnovers. He plays at a fast pace, so he helps you get easy shots on offense. Like Dante does a lot of the little things that me and Tyler love Pat Conatan for, and we love Grayson Allen for. And every once in a while, Bobby will run up the floor and post up the point guard down the floor, and he'll get an easy and one or something like that. Dante does all those things. He causes havoc. He's just havoc waiting to happen. I love Dante personally. Is he the greatest shooter in the world? No. Is he the greatest ball handler? No. But he's a good shooter. He's a good ball handler. He's a good defender. He's just a good overall player to have on your team. He's like the Walmart version of Caruso, in my opinion. And Caruso's a great player. Great secondary player.
I can see that.
That's kind of where I would put him.
That's fair. For me, so Dante, you can tell that he's on a minutes restriction, and you can tell the minute restriction is 16 minutes because he's played like 15:41 and 15:43 in his 2 games. So he's not shooting well. He's shooting well at the free throw line, but the rebounding effort is still there. You just need to give him some time. He is literally 2 games back from not having played basketball in like 6 months.
Dude, seriously. And like he missed a couple of layups on Christmas Day, and I was just like, "Yep, everybody's going crazy right now, bro. I already knew it. They're all going nuts."
Yeah. I mean, for you said you love Dante. I like Dante. I wouldn't say that I love Dante, but I really appreciate what he brings to the team, even though he's not one of my favorite players per se. But he fits perfectly alongside the rest of the Bucks stars. That's why he was the starting shooting guard last season. Because he fits perfectly alongside Drew, Chris, and Giannis.
Yep.
Because you can just plug him in, and then he also plays great defense. And what I do love about Dante DiVincenzo is his hustle. He will dive on the floor. He will go get rebounds. He will play the passing lanes. His goal was to be an all-NBA defensive player. So I do appreciate what Dante brings to the Bucks. So for anybody criticizing Dante, give him some time. Like I said, he's 2 games removed from not having played basketball in 6 months.
Yeah, I guess I just love his effort. I love his effort. I love that he looks like he cares, as much as me and you. And that's what I love about players, because I invest a lot of my emotional being is invested in sports. I will not lie about that. When I watch the game, I am 100% like, let's go get this win. This loss could kind of ruin my day. I'm not going to lie. So when I see a guy like Dante caring as much as I do, he's the first on the floor. He's running down the floor, getting layups, shooting threes. Like, I like that. That's why I love Giannis so much, I think. Because Giannis, when he dunks it, even his first quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, when he screams, I'm like, I feel his passion in that scream, and I love Giannis for that. That's why I love this Bucks team, because they care as much as I do. That's all I can ask for, I guess.
All right. You have anything else you want to discuss with the Bucks?
Nah, man. They're just going to keep winning games, and people are going to keep not talking about them. It is what it is.
It's true. People can talk about the Bulls, which is weird and annoying, but whatever.
Whatever. We'll take care of them ourselves.
Oh, so, really quick, before we switch, I made this comparison in my head, and I just forgot about it until now because we were talking about it. So the Bulls, I was going to say, remind me of last year's 76ers team where they're getting a high seed and like they're not to be taken seriously. That's how I feel about the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
I feel about the Cowboys the same way I felt about last year's 76ers team where they're going to have a high seed and they're exciting to watch in the regular season, but I don't feel that they're particularly a threat in the postseason.
The thing that makes them not a threat, and I'm not doing this to take a shot, is Mike McCarthy. His play
And
calling in crucial times is just.
for me, I don't feel that Dak and Zeke are ready for a potential NFC Championship game type moment.
I think Dak can be that guy. I don't think Zeke is that guy.
I
think
think
Zeke gets far too much love.
I agree. I think, honestly, Mike McCarthy might end up turning Zeke into Eddie Lacy 2.0.
I mean, that's if Zeke doesn't get kicked out for partying in Vegas again. I mean, that guy.
Nice transition.
I can't stand that guy.
So, speaking of Vegas.
That was not intended, but it worked.
All right. Speaking of Vegas, let's talk about the Badgers bowl game tomorrow. You and I were talking about this before the show. This is kind of a hard game to preview. So, I don't know. What do you want to highlight?
So, man, yeah, this is tough. It's kind of a mirror image kind of deal. I do think that the Badgers are much better on defense than Arizona State. There's not a lot of defense played over there in the Pac-12. There's a reason they don't talk about those teams over there because most of them are just not very good football teams. Arizona State kind of was one of the better teams in that conference, but when you look at the stats, you break them down. The quarterback stats, Graham Mertz for the Badgers, obviously, and then Rashaan White, for Arizona State. They have similar stats. I mean, Rashaan White has 10 touchdowns and 9 picks, and Graham Mertz has 9 touchdowns, 10 picks. So they're.
I think Rashaan White is their running back, dude.
Oh yeah, sorry, I have them written down opposite. Jaden Daniels is the quarterback.
There you
go. Fault. Jaden Daniels and Graham Mertz. Rashaan White, I wrote down, is their best player. I have him on top. Same thing with Braylon Allen for the Badgers. They're also mirror images of each other. I mean, Rashaan White, he's averaging 5.5 yards a carry, 15 touchdowns. I mean, the guy is just a big play waiting to happen. And that's how I feel about Braylon Allen. He's averaging 7.1 yards per carry, though. So this guy is literally almost a first down every time he touches the ball. And he has 12 touchdowns. And he didn't play the first couple games of the season. So
he was the third running back on the depth chart for the first 4 weeks.
Right. So one thing I did write down about Arizona State is they played 2 ranked teams. They played a number 12 Baylor, and they played a number 10 Utah. They lost both those games. So when they played big-time opponents, they lost both those games by double digits as well. So they weren't particularly close to them. So I don't see Arizona State as really a big problem, but they are one of those teams that could probably put up some points. I mean, they got big playmakers all over the board, but we'll see what you say, but I can't wait for the score prediction. I think we're going to be close.
This will be interesting. For me, I broke it down by 3 position groups for the offenses, and it was quarterbacks. It was a wash. I mean, Jake said it. Arizona State's quarterback, 10-9. Graham Mertz, 9-10. Running backs, I do think the edge goes to Wisconsin just because that is their strength. I saw a tweet today that the Badgers run on a little over 63% of their offensive plays, and my comment to that was, seems light.
Yeah, right.
That's just under 2/3 of their plays are running plays. So for me, on the offensive side, I'm looking for Braylon Allen to be in line for big game. Arizona State gives up about 129 rushing yards per game, so I expect Braylon Allen to take full advantage of that. And then I just want to see the Badgers keep everyone involved, including the pass catchers. The Badgers have 3 capable wide receivers and one of the best tight ends in college football. Go prove that in a bowl game.
Be nice to get a win in the season after that Minnesota loss. Kind of left a bad taste in everybody's mouth.
Yeah. I did give Arizona State the edge in wide receivers. Ricky Pearsall is their leading wide receiver. He's got 44 receptions on the season. Only 4 touchdowns, though, so it'll be a test for the cornerbacks, but I just want to see a clean game, preferably. Just not give up any cheap pass interference penalties that felt like that hurt the Badgers at times this season. You already mentioned Rashaan White a little bit, is 5.5 yards per carry, but he's also their second leading receiver. So Ricky Pearsall is their leading receiver with 44 receptions. Their running back, Rashaan White, has 43. So Badgers linebackers are going to need to keep an eye on him out of the backfield because their quarterback will like to check it down. And then, this game, I'm excited because it just gives us one more opportunity to watch the Badgers linebackers. To see Sanborn, Chenal, and Herbig going at it again, even Noah Burks. And I'm just excited to watch the Badgers football because I still believe that it's more fun to watch them play defense than offense.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch Leo Chenal. This might be his last game as a Badger, so that kind of sucks, but he's been great for us.
He's such a monster.
Yeah, he is.
All right, you got a weather report for this one?
They're in a dome.
I know.
This game is happening tomorrow, so
tomorrow night
we're on the subject. So yeah, it's at 9:30 at night, which is like Jesus. I'm a grandpa, so 9:30.
That's a West Coast. That's what it does.
Yeah, I know, but I just wanted to give a shout out to my brother before I forget. Tomorrow is his birthday. He turns 29 tomorrow, so happy birthday, Curtis. It's also Tiger Woods and LeBron James' birthday. So my whole life, I always used to say that 3 of my favorite athletes have the same birthday. My brother, LeBron, and Tiger Woods. Just wanted to say that. Anyways.
Oh, maybe I'll post the pies that Curtis got in the face a couple weeks ago.
You should.
For that.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. All right. So give me your score prediction, and I'll give you mine. Or did you go first to the Packers, and I'll give mine first?
I went first with Packers, so you go first.
All right. My score prediction is 30-24. Badgers.
Oh, we actually have one of the numbers correctly, but I have 24-20. Badgers.
All right.
I think it's gonna be a pretty close game. Badgers are gonna run a shit ton.
Yeah, it seemed like a really quick preview, but I mean, like we said, it's a really they pit these bowl games against teams that match up so well that it really feels like the Badgers going against the Badgers. For like one team has the Badgers defense and the other team has Illinois' defense.
You know what I really feel like with this game? I didn't want to say it because it makes me sound like bad, I guess, but it feels like Arizona State was that team that played above what they were supposed to do, going 8-4, and the Badgers were that team that played under what they were supposed to do, going 8-4. So it's kind of
I don't think that's a bad thing to say. I feel like that's valid.
It's more of a sexy matchup for Arizona State, in my opinion, than the Badgers. But it still would be nice for the Badgers to get a win here, just to kind of continue that
win a bowl game.
Kind of thing.
Yeah,
and,
it'd be nice to see Graham Mertz be able to carry some confidence into next season.
Yeah, I'm really not expecting him to, because like I said, I think we're just gonna run. We're gonna run. You mentioned their yards per game they're giving up, so we're gonna run. We're gonna run some more, and that's kind of what the deal's gonna be. But it just lost.
I see Graham Mertz in that like 15 to 18 pass attempts area.
Yeah. How many bowl games are there, dude? There's like the freaking Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, the freaking I'll change your tires and you get a $200 rebate bowl. Like there's just so many bowl games, dude.
All right, I wasn't.
What is this bowl game?
I got a really random bowl game for you. This is inappropriate, but if it ever happens, this would be the most random bowl game ever. If this ever happens, the OnlyFans Bowl.
Oh no! You went there, you son of a bitch. Oh man. Hey, subscribe for $15.99.
If you could pick the most random bowl game that you could pick to have, I don't know why that popped into my head, but that's you did the change my tires for a $200 rebate bowl, and
dude, I just see that sign every day when I go home from work. So I think about it. I'm just like, I wouldn't be surprised that could be a bowl game some year.
That's a funny poll question. What is the most random bowl game name you could think of?
Hey, OnlyFans Bowl. That was good. That was good. Oh man.
Oh.
I knew you were gonna go there too. I was mentally preparing myself. Yeah, no, I got nothing else. I think Badgers are gonna win. So.
All right. So for Badgers basketball, now we're in another weird situation where the Badgers basketball team hasn't played in over 2 weeks, or exactly 2 weeks, but their next game is going to be over 2 weeks since they played. So for me, I have 2 questions that I want to ask you, and then I have a couple things that I just want to see improve. So I don't know if you have anything you want to say before that, or if you just want to jump right into Q&A.
Start with the questions. I'm interested. I want to see what these are about.
So one of my questions is who do you think on this Badgers team can become a reliable 3-point shooter? That's one of the things that they're missing. So that's my first question: is who do you think can become a reliable 3-point shooter for the Badgers?
I knew your questions were gonna meet with my goals. I knew they were gonna
Perfect.
do that. So, reliable 3-point shooter. I have this written down because of one of my other goals. I think that guy. I think there's two players that we're gonna have to watch. I mean, outside of Davis and Davison, who've really been
Right.
carrying the load this year.
Yep.
I think Crowell is a guy to watch out for,
Okay.
and Hepburn. I
Yep,
think
Chucky Hepburn.
Chucky Hepburn is that guy. I think he's the guy with the highest potential for the third
Yep.
star, in my opinion. He can shoot.
Yep.
He can defend, and he's shown the ability to be a playmaker for others at times.
Yep.
So I think him being a freshman. I mean, that kind of sucks.
He just needs some experience.
Yeah, he needs the time, the PT. But I think Chucky Hepburn has the little leg up on Crowell. But Crowell is a guy, I like his skill set, but he's also a guy that needs some PT.
So my two guys that I would bring up, Chucky Hepburn is one of them. The other one is Lauren Bauman. He's shown some flashes of being a good shooter at times, and then he ended up missing some games with the flu that went around with Badgers basketball team. So he missed some games there. So Lauren Bauman is the other guy that I'm looking at for potentially giving a 3-point boost. So I don't know, before I ask my other question, if you want to throw your goal tied to that.
Nope. Okay. I'll throw my goal. So my first goal was actually to improve on overall shooting and 3-point shooting. Overall shooting, we're shooting 40% as a team. I mean, my cutoff was really 45, and that's kind of really low. But as a team, 45% is pretty good. And then, 3-point shooting as a team, we're shooting 29% from 3. That's not going to cut it. When I went all up and down the lineup and looked at everybody's 3-point shooting percentage, it was just like, it's ridiculous. I mean, Krell shooting 27%, Hepburn shooting 24%, Tyler Wall shooting 0.0%.
What is he, like 0 for 9?
I didn't look at the attempts, but I just saw 0.0, and I was like, okay, that's enough of looking at that number. But it's like, I mean, we gotta find that shooting, get better shots. And I think something that could help with that, and I mean, Johnny Davis has been absolutely phenomenal so far this year. But
he's being projected as a top 15 pick.
Yeah, he's good.
Top 10
he will
even.
Be. He will be.
I've seen top 10 in some places.
But I think putting the ball in the hands of Chucky Hepburn and letting him be a playmaker a little bit, I think that could be something that could benefit the Badgers, honestly.
All right. So my second question, this ties into the Badgers are scoring 68.6 points per game and allowing 61.2 points per game. My second question is, can the Badgers rely solely on defense, low turnovers, and high free throw percentage to win games?
Well, you go back to the Bo Ryan days, right? What did the Badgers do? Low scoring defense, low turnovers, make your free throws. This looks like a legit Bo Ryan team, in my opinion.
Tyler Wall is 0 for 14 on threes.
So this one kind of ties into my other goals. I'm just going to go to my second one, and that is finding a third star. I mean, we got to find that third star. I mean, like I said, Johnny Davis and Brad Davison have been phenomenal. Brad Davison is almost averaging 16. He's at 15. And Johnny Davis is at 20.9. It's almost 21 points per game. And Tyler Wall sitting there at 8.4. Crowell's at 7.7. And Hepburn's at 7, right? So if they improve on their shooting just by a couple percentage points, the Badgers points,
that always happens to me. I'm glad it happens to you now.
I know. God, I was like trying to avoid that. Their points per game will go up, and the Badgers' points per game will go up. They're going to play great defense. That's what we do in Wisconsin. Football, basketball, they play great defense. But if Tyler Wall can learn to take over games a little bit more, and Crowell,
he's a guy that has opportunity to be a good 3-point shooter.
He does.
He showed it a little bit last year, but
and he played so good in the Maui tournament too. He actually leads us in blocks. He's the only person that leads us in a category. If you look at points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, like the major 5 that they show, Johnny Davis leads us in 4 of the 5. But Wall leads us in blocks per game. So Johnny Davis is basically the Badger.
Yeah, he really is. That's what we talked about in the primer. I mean,
Right.
the issues that we're talking about are the issues we talked about in the primer that we felt were going to be issues.
Yeah.
So
3-point
these aren't
shooting.
surprising, but it's stuff that we want to see improve.
Yeah, I mean, shooting, finding that third star, that's just something that just needs to happen. Can they rely on that is your question. I've kind of been bouncing around it. I say yes, but it will end up being an Achilles heel in the tournament because you're going to go against teams that could put up, 80 points, 90 points because that's what happens to the Badgers. They just get out-athleted, I guess is how I'll word it.
Yeah. So the only other goal that I have for the Badgers is to increase their ball movement. The Badgers are averaging only 9.7 assists per game. So I'd like to see the Badgers just get more involved, move the ball, get some more assists.
That is literally the same one I have. I wrote down more assists per game, create better shots, 9.7 per game, and then I wrote down play at faster pace because I think that's
I like the faster pace, yeah.
I think that's something that these kids, they do in the AAU. They get up and down the floor.
High school too, even.
We do have the athletes now. I think we have athletes.
I would say
one
through 3, we have the athletes, and then you can maybe throw Tyler Wall in there. Tyler Wall's not overly athletic, but he's got good footwork and he can finish around the rim. So
he can run the floor. I think he can run the floor and finish at the rim.
And I know maybe this isn't a huge boost, but maybe Jacoby Neath can help with that. He missed some time too, so he's just kind of getting back into the rotation. So maybe Jacoby Neath can help with that, with the pacing, in that backup point guard role. So,
I mean, and the thing about the pace is the Badgers have been playing at a faster pace than they do traditionally, anyway. So I would like to see them up that a little bit more as well. Take some layups. I mean, you'll still tell them you focus on getting easy shots, but also getting back on defense. You can make defense the primary focus.
Yeah, and you have Jonathan Davis.
Yeah,
that's enough reason right there to go get in transition because he throws down some nasty posters.
He does. I wish we could have 2 or 3 of those guys, but it is what it is.
All right, be like we have some goals. So, yeah, or Kentucky.
Yeah, Jesus, they just get all the athletes.
Yeah. Do you anything else you want to throw out there? We'll have some more to talk about next week now that we have some more to discuss that they're actually playing again.
No, I just want to say Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope everybody's Christmas was great and safe. And I know the Wisconsin roads have been pretty crazy the last couple of days, so make sure you give people room, okay? I'm just going to say that. And if everybody's going 45,
public service
50,
announcement with Jake.
You don't need to go 80, okay? You're just kind of being an asshole at that point, in my personal opinion. I mean, there was a crash last night when I was on my way to work. I had to go to Oshkosh, and there was a crash by Jackson Street, exit 124. And there's 4 cars. There's one in the ditch. There's 2 on the side. And there's another car that was just completely smashed. And the cops are helping people. So everybody moves over to the middle lane, right? This is happening on the right lane. And there's just cars going in the left lane. I'm like, are you serious? It's like one of those situations like, read the room, guys. Read the room. It's like, are you serious? There's people like hurt over here. And you're just going to, you know what? 90. Screw it. I don't care. It's all those people in those big giant diesel trucks with their whatever.
Read the room.
But listen, chill, relax, be safe. Everybody have a safe, happy New Year's.
Same goes for New Year's, yep.
And we appreciate you guys, following us and sticking with us. And don't forget to invite all your friends. Join us in the chat. I mean, we love to hear your guys' opinions. We want questions from you guys. I mean, we'll gladly create the conversation, but that's why we do this live. We want you guys to create the conversation for us, and we'll just kind of play off that. I mean, maybe if we get to a point we get enough people, we can just add fans to the live stream. I mean, why not?
We like to do that too.
Consider. So, just be safe, be smart, and when it's snowing on the roads, please just be safe. I don't want to be driving past car crashes all day.
Hey, if you're having parties and you're staying at home, order some Parker Johns. Definitely got to thank Parker Johns for sponsoring the show. We really appreciate it. It's allowed us to invest in our show is something that Parker Johns has allowed us to do, which we really appreciate. And for sharing the show every month, we can give away a $25 gift certificate to Parker Johns. So, follow the show and interact with us, and maybe we'll throw you a $25 gift certificate to Parker Johns.
Yeah, and
there's
they
our
got the
first
best
winner
wings.
of the Parker Johns Award right there is Tim. So appreciate you, Tim, for watching us every week.
Tim's been an A1 since day one, man. I appreciate you, Tim. Tim, you're going to have to join the show one of these weeks. I've been asking you for a while now. So you're going to have to join the show one of these weeks and talk some Packers or Bucks or whatever you prefer, really. So.
Oh, speaking of the show, Tim is also in the fantasy football league that we did for Wisco Fanatics. And Jake, you happen to look at the standings for the season?
No, I did not check this week because I was salty at fantasy football last week because I lost in the
So-
playoffs in 2 leagues.
Jake, you and Josh, who we should have on the show again to talk about the Packers, finished with the worst record.
Yep.
And tiebreaker for worst record goes to points scored. And Jake, you scored less points than Josh.
I know. I've seen that. You know, what you do for love, right? And I love this show. What you do for love, man.
That's not the only pie you have to take, too. Because if you
I
don't
know.
outscore me by 6 in the last 2 weeks of the pick'ems, you get one between me, you, and your dad for that one, too.
We were just talking about the double pie, right? I'm going to have to take a double pie. I'm going to have my stepson and my girlfriend just whale me with some pies, man. And we'll just do them both.
You've been
in
really
one day.
unlucky with the pie bets so far.
You know what? I mean, to be honest with you, the first one I was shook because I never had that happen to me before in my life. But I don't mind them anymore. It's fun. It gets people involved. You know, I mean, it is what it is. It's good. It's for the show. So I love this show and I believe in this show. And I will
You're a good
gladly
sport
take.
about it.
I will take 1,000 pies if this show pops off easily. That's an easy decision for me.
All right,
Hey.
man. Well,
You're going down then, Tim, because I'm going to put all my best players in this week, you SOB.
all right. Well, good luck to Chris and Eric who are playing for the #1 championship this week. So good luck to those two.
Yes, sir.
All right. You got anything else?
Go Pack Go, Bucks in 6, and on Wisconsin. That's all I got, baby.
All right. That's all of them. All right.
All right.
See you next week.
Peace out, buddy.